Hi everyone, good morning. It's a Tuesday morning and welcome back to the podcast. I've tossed my camera, my Sony to my guys who are used to working on Canon. So they're still figuring it out. So you might see the camera moving around. You might see me out of focus and back in focus. Or you suddenly might see the video disappear altogether. But we will try our best. We'll try. The reason why we're always doing this in our studio is whenever Anand is not around, we try and upskill ourselves. We try to expand our knowledge and we try to improve ourselves. Not only in camera, in editing, everything related, we try and improve ourselves because constant improvement is the way to live. And that's the way nature intended us to be. Speaking of that, I thought I'll talk about 5 books which have had a big impact on me, which I thought I can share with you. And maybe in the comments down below, you can share the books which have had an impact on you so far. And if you do find these books which I'm talking about interesting, maybe you can give it a read. Some of them I don't think even Anand has read because Anand's very advanced and I'm very nascent compared to him. So I'm trying to slowly build up to at least to keep pace with him. If not, get closer to where he is. Getting closer is much harder because Anand's had a very long head start compared to me. His runway is much longer than mine. So catching up is next to impossible. But at least I can make sure the distance between me and him, the gap, doesn't keep expanding. So in that endeavor, I read these books. The first book which I want to talk about is called Think Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. There are 2 things in that book. The central argument in that book is it discusses 2 systems of the human brain. The automatic and intuitive and the controlled and analytical. So that's what this book is about. It's about the way we think. And some of the thinking is automated, and some of the thinking is something which we actually apply and use our mind to think. So there's pitfalls and strengths in intuitive thinking. The first system can be fast, but leads to biases and error. This is the automatic intuitive thinking. It's built on what we have experienced in life, what we have gone through in life. So based on that, the system is built. So the decision model, the way it takes any action is based on those biases so far what we have learnt in life, which is natural, and it has errors in it. The second is improved decision making, which is system 2, which is the analytical approach and can correct the mistakes of system 1. This, if you notice in everything in which we do in life, it's like that. If you notice when you're driving a car or driving a bike, most of the time you're on autopilot. That's system 1, which is engaging. When something happens on the road, immediately use system 2, and system 2, when it takes over, starts correcting any mistake or requirement of sudden engagement of conscious, analytical mind kicks in. And then he talks about something known as impact of repetition on belief. This repeated information can wrongfully be perceived as true. We have seen this in our world today, where certain information, if repeated by all mediums and channels, on and on and on, we start believing this is to be true. This is even true in terms of investors and stocks. If a certain company is played up to us over and over and over again, we tend to believe that information to be true. We can see this, I don't want to name companies per se, because that will become a bias, which I don't want to do. I want you guys to learn, to research and understand the news and the biases yourself, and not to ruin this experience of learning, because learning is very important and it's something beautiful and wonderful. And everyone should have their own aha moment and not be ruined by someone telling them this. It's like telling you the plot of the movie before you get to watch it. So repeated information can create these biases and perceive false information to be true. And there's a concept called priming, which he talks about. That means exposing one concept can influence your response to another concept, which is pretty much your biases. Whatever experiences you've had in life, whatever you're being told and you believe to be true, will have an impact on how you react to something new that comes to you. When something new comes to you, you react based on what your previous knowledge is, what your previous exposure is. So this is called priming. So you're already primed to react in a certain way or move in a certain way because of your previous set experiences in life or previous set research which you have done about a company. For example, we're talking as an investor. You have dealt with a certain company or a certain brand and you already have a certain belief system. So when something new comes, it's very difficult to detach from that and respond and analyze. So what does he do after all telling you about all this? Then he teaches you the techniques to counter these cognitive biases. The book provides methods to become aware and counter these biases which we suffer from. And the importance of rational thinking. In System 2, it's crucial to solve complex problems and make informed decision is based on rational thinking. So he talks about this also in great depth. This is a very big book. It's not a short book. It's not a quick read. It's the kind of book which you'll keep going back, reading, going back and reading, discussing, sharing, and you'll have lots of aha moments like, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, it's very true. I've experienced this. It's that kind of a book. That's why I suggest you read it. And it will be great if you read it with someone so you guys can experience it together and share it together and talk about it, which is what I did with Anand with this book. So it's a must read for anyone who wants to improve decision making and understanding of human psychology, which all of us want to do. As an investor, as a business person or an entrepreneur, even if you're working in a company, you want to improve decision making because being human is about making decisions all the time. So it's a wonderful book and I do strongly encourage you to read it. The second book which I want to talk about called The Almanac by Naval Ravikant and Eric Ogerson. This focuses on building wealth and achieving happiness through unorthodox methods. We are always led to believe that making money or making wealth has to be done in a certain way, that you have to have a certain approach, a certain mindset. It's always important to break that mode and to think differently because there might be another way of achieving the same goal. Because your circumstances and your situation and what you have, tools you have to use to becoming wealthy may be very different from what me and Anand have or have had. So it is important, yes, you listen to what me and Anand say, but also to think differently, to think, okay, how can I apply what they've said to what I have? And this book is very good at that. It talks about having unique skills that give you the competitive advantage. Having specific knowledge is very important. Second thing it talks about is the power of good judgment. Being a clear thinker can set you apart in any field. The more you spend time thinking before acting, the more your advantage grows. That's what very famously Anand's cricket analogies would be like that. Any great batsman, if you see batting, he'll be able to slow down the bowler because of his confidence level. But the amount of time he spends thinking and analyzing what's happening as he's playing, it allows him to slow down the game. That's why defensive play is sometimes frowned upon because it's not entertaining. But defensive play is very good because it gives you the space to think. It gives you this capacity to analyze what is happening, how many balls are there, what is going to happen. That kind of analysis only happens with clear thinking. Then you can attain happiness without relying on external circumstances. This is about mindset, which is very important. Happiness is something which you don't have to go around looking in this world. Happiness is something innate in us, which we are born with, and it's something you can keep in default within us. You don't have to try and find it in the world outside or engage with it. And that kind of a thing can remove a lot of burden when you're trying to become wealthy and trying to become rich, because we're constantly told that you're in a pursuit of happiness. Well, this book tells you differently. It tells you that, yes, pursuit of happiness can happen with happiness existing inside you. It can be your pursuit of excellence maybe, but happiness is something which is already there inside you, that you don't need to go looking for it, which works for a lot of people because pursuit of happiness can lead to anxiety. So that is something to think about. Then authenticity is the key to both happiness and success. So he advocates individuality. That means standing out, being an individual, not following the crowd, not following the grain. If everybody is doing something, you don't have to do this. You can do something different. This team means in career path also. So let's say everyone is studying nowadays to become an engineer. You cannot be an engineer. If everybody is studying to be an economist, don't have to be an economist. If your house is full of lawyers, you don't have to be a lawyer. I tell this case of all the time. All jobs are the same. All jobs are equal. What is important is that you find yourself, your fulfillment in that job, which is what they're talking about in terms of advocating for individuality. Then concept of leveraging. Using tools and resources, you can multiply your effort. The famous example is Archimedes saying, give me a fulcrum and I can move the moon. So the point is, a little force using a fulcrum can create great movement because of, in physics, it multiplies, force multiplies. Same way, by using the tools and resources which you have, you can leverage that to create a greater change or a greater momentum in your life. This is the same concept of anyone who studied pulleys, anyone who studied gears or anything mechanical would understand this right off the bat, what I'm talking about. Then what they finish off with is called first principle thinking, which is breaking down things to fundamental truth can lead to better understanding and decision making. So that's what's called nutshell thinking, meaning you look at the problem in its nutshell. What is the core of the problem? Or what is the core of what you're trying to do? What is your core objective? Then based on that understanding, then you build layers on it. So understand the nutshell, understand the grain of it, the innermost seed of the problem. Then you can build on this. This is essentially for those who want to do serious personal growth and who want happiness and wealth. This is a book which I would recommend. So if you're looking for if you're very serious about your own personal growth as a person and you want some happiness in your life and a side order of wealth, then it's something you can read which will give you. Because wealth is not always about money, not about what you have, it's about the way you have your mindset. So wealth doesn't always have to do with money. Third book which I want to talk about is The Magic Word for Influence and the Impact by Philip Jones. The central argument in this book is the importance of being an effective communicator. That communication is very important. That communication is how all transactions on this world happens, and it's important to be an effective communicator. So the first part of this key insight is this: specific words are for effective communication. So that they're called magic words and they can sway outcomes. So it's important to know trigger words, the words that make things happen for you in any conversation or an argument or a problem solving. There are key words which can be used to help you nudge and solve a problem. So understanding the importance of word is very important in this chapter, in the first section of the book, what he talks about. So that's why they always say, choose your words wisely, choose your words carefully, is for this reason. Because words have meanings and words have force. And that's what they always say, sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but words can really hurt you. So choose your words carefully. And real life applications he talks about. He gives various examples about how you can use magic words in different scenarios. Magic words are not words like which conjure. Immediately when you say magic, it has a connotation of doing something out of this world. The reason why he's saying magic words is because it is magical to think about how simple words can have such powerful reactions. And we've seen this in the world. Currently, the world is becoming more and more toxic for the simple reason because people don't want to choose their words. And you see real good examples in the book about this. Then he talks about understanding why certain phrases can help you to do things more effectively than other phrases. How simple things as recognizing, saying sorry or saying thank you, being the first one to apply it in a situation can lead to quicker resolution and quicker achieving your goals sooner than you think by choosing, and how phrasing of words is very important. Then he talks about conversational hesitation, to present your ideas more confidently and make requests more confidently. All of us suffer from this. How do we ask someone for something? How do we present ourselves? All of us suffer from public speaking. How do I get in front of a person or in front of my boss or in front of my group or my colleagues and present a presentation? How do I put it together? We all assume that we are the only ones who have these problems, that everybody else seems to be doing much better and much easier. True, and the truth is every person is a human being who has these problems, and they all struggle with this and they all are full of anxieties. By recognizing that it is all a shared thing, it lowers your level of anxiety and you can approach this much more differently, and helps you become more confident when you realize that all of you are in this together. Everybody's going through this learning process together, can help you overcome these kind of hesitations, and he gives you real good tools that you can use in this book. Then he gives you linguistic tools to finalize business deals. How do you close a deal as an entrepreneur? How do you convince a sale? How do you, as a marketing person, push the sale through? He gives you the ways to use words and phrases and the way you should convince the other person, your customer or your business partner or your client to. So he talks about how to use linguistic tools to finalize your business deals. Then he finishes off the book with subtle communication value. He teaches how to portray your service and products as a superior without blatantly saying so. We always don't want to come across as you're bragging or putting other people down. It's like, be honest, but don't be brutal, is very famously said. That you can be honest without hurting someone. Same way you can sell yourself without pulling your competition down. And that kind of what you call compassion and empathy has a good vibe. And always that humanness always can help you achieve what you're trying to do. So this book is ideal for professionals who are trying to seek to improving their communication skills. This is a book which I would recommend if you are struggling for communicating, public speaking, or you're in marketing or in sales, and you need to get these tools and these skills to improve yourself. I would strongly suggest you read this book. It seems to me that I'm running really long as I'm deep diving into these books. The remaining last 2 books, I think I should touch upon it tomorrow because this video will become extensively long. So I'll keep the next 2 books for tomorrow. And I wish you have a good day today and have a wonderful day at work. I hope you do get to read these books which I'm talking about. I've touched 3 books today. The remaining 2 books, I'll get it across to you guys tomorrow. Thank you.